Those things have made it very easy for people to leave the rec area and go to travel.
Maybe go to rec and be that player this year and be a leader on your team and know that you can take that to travel.
That's your personal choice. That's not something that's ever going to affect me.
Is travel softball just glorified rec ball with dues? Let's find out.
Welcome to DSPN Softball Central Podcast, your comprehensive look into the world of fast pitch softball.
In softball, there are different levels of play. Most journeys begin on the rec ball field, but for those with a real spark for the game, end up going to travel ball. So is travel ball worth the investment, or will just playing high school be good enough to get a scholarship? We're going to break this down and more with our guests, Matt and Kate. Both played college ball, have coached the game, have two daughters that play softball, one in rec, one in travel. Matt and Kate, welcome to the show. How you guys doing?
Great. Thanks for having us.
Great, thank you. Excited to be here.
So the first thing I wanted to ask you both, do you have to play travel ball to make a high school team, or is rec ball good enough to make the team?
Yeah, with this one, definitely is the travel ball will give you at a higher level of competition to be up there and refine those skills. But there should be a clear separation between high school softball and travel softball. What travel ball team you play on should have no effect on what high school team you make or don't make.
Kate, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, for me, it's so different. When I was in high school softball was just for fun. We had girls that played rec, we had girls that played travel, but playing travel wasn't something that you had to do to make your softball team or your high school softball team. But things have changed. Some high schools, you have to be on a certain travel ball team to have a shot at getting play time for that high school. Other high schools, they want travel ball players, but they're coming from multiple different teams. And from watching some of these high school girls, the competition level has definitely grown from when I've played. There are way more home runs that are being hit and certain things that just weren't as big when I was playing travel. I do not think that you should have to play travel ball to be able to play at the high school level.
This episode is sponsored by Ryan Contractors. RCI is celebrating 14 years being your commercial construction general contractor. Visit their website at rciamerica.com for more information.
So you two both played college ball. Matt, you played baseball. Kate, obviously you played softball. What was the major difference transitioning from the high school ball to the college ball?
Well, so when I went to college, I went to a Division I school in Missouri, Southeast Missouri University, and I was on my own. So that was the biggest difference, is being able to be on my own without help from family, being an adult, learning how to play the sport, where my dad, my stepdad, my grandpa were always my main coaches, or at least helped coach along the way. So learning how to play the game by myself was definitely the difference. What I learned in rec and travel, you just carry that on to college. And colleges, you should already have everything that you need to be able to play that sport at the highest level. And that's how you get chosen to go to that college, right? They see you doing certain things that stand out from other players. So I think that's the biggest difference. Is rec, travel, you're going to get your reps, but college, you're not going to for sure get reps if somebody's outplaying you.
Matt, what about you? Did you have like that scary moment when you got into college? You're like, oh no, I need a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and no one's there to make it.
Now, for me, so I stayed local. I right out of high school, I went to El Camino Junior College, which things have changed so much now in the landscape of even junior college softball. But at that time, if you committed to Division I right out of high school, you couldn't get drafted in the major league draft for 3 years. So at that point, a lot of people that were going to junior colleges could have suffered an injury, or they didn't want to get stuck to a D1 for 3 years to possibly get drafted sooner if education wasn't their route that they really wanted to pursue. But the biggest thing for me was it was an all day thing, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. But in high school, we had our 6-period baseball, and you played baseball in the evenings, 3 days a week for our games, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. When I went to college at El Camino, they aren't under the same rules as the NCAA follows. So we had 5 a.m. weights, and you better be there before that. And you'd go to weights in the morning till about 7. You'd start class, do class from 8 to noonish. Then you were back on the field from 2 to about 6 p.m., and we were at study hall in the evening. Junior college was a grind. I loved it. I learned so much at that point. We had mental instructors at that point. We had weights, and it really helped me grow individually in learning the game at that point, junior college baseball. And then after that, I went to Cal State Dominguez Hills, which is a little different story. And then you fall under NCAA, and it was actually a step back as far as the commitment level. I'm not knocking Division II baseball at all or anything like that, and things have changed a lot. But at that point, we were actually pushed harder at the junior college level than at Division II.
Wow. I had no clue about that. That's amazing. And just because they didn't fall under any of the guidelines or the rules, like you said, of the NCAA, that like, hey, you can't work these guys too hard, and JUCO is like, oh yes, we can.
Tell us how you got started in the sport.
I was born into baseball. My dad played baseball his entire life. My brother's 5 years older than me. I followed my brother around for many years at the Little League field and just kind of grew right into it. Went to the same high school and kind of already had that foundation there. And so it's been a part of me since the day I was born.
And Kate?
Um, kind of same because I'm the oldest. But I think I tried soccer one time and said nope. So starting at 4, I played t-ball and then I've played ever since. So softball has been our world. So it's funny because people will always say like, how do you do it with the 2 girls and that takes up all your weekends? But we've played this game forever. I've never wanted a break. A lot of people talk about, burnout and things like that. But when you love this game, you don't need that break because it's not a job. It's not a task. It's something you love. And I think luckily, and kind of what brought Matt and I together is our love for this game. This game has been our whole life, and we're lucky that our girls love this game, so we get to continue with that. But I was just lucky to be able to play rec. I still remember playing All Stars. I don't remember if I won or lost, but I remember loving the game and loving the girls that I was playing with. And then I played travel ball starting in 12U. And then, like I said, I went to a Division I in Missouri and just wasn't for me. So I came back and I actually went to Dominguez Hills also. We didn't know each other at that time, but I went to Dominguez Hills, which is a Division II. But I think my Division II team would have given my Division I team a run for their money. So that's something to know that just because you hear Division I, it's not always the way that you need to go to be able to be successful in this game. So finding what fits for you.
Completely understood and agree with you. What we tried to tell, our daughter and other people that will listen to us is that you need to put the 40 over 4, meaning you need to put the 40 years of work over the 4 years of college. Also, if Division II is offering you, a better scholarship plus it has the major that you want, why wouldn't you go to Division II? Division I is great and it's more popular on ESPN, but if you're thinking about the next 40 years of your life, Division II might be the better choice, really.
Well, and I think even sometimes the D1 schools, you can only major in history or only major in communications. So you're definitely limited to degrees that you can major in. So yeah, like you said, the 40 before the 4. Absolutely.
What else makes you guys happy besides softball? I know you are constantly at the field, and you just mentioned how much you guys love the game. We love it too. We're complete nerds. But is there something else like cars or movies or anything like that that you guys like to do?
Well, we started in COVID. We started playing cornhole. We don't get to play nearly as much now that the girls are playing all the time, but that was something that we found during that time that kind of gave us that way to be athletic, but not the same. But the go-to would be just being together as a family. Like we have a close-knit group of friends, but we're together with family all the time. So whenever we're not on the field, we're trying to spend time together.
Matt and Kate, I know that you both coach rec ball as well as travel ball. When it comes to rec ball, what's your philosophy and goal for recreational softball when you're coaching that level? And what age group?
I think it stays pretty consistent. Starting out, yes, you're adjusting to the age level, but It's staying disciplined, staying focused at practice, and really creating the good habits. You have to, even though they're young, you still have to put in the team stretching together. There's a certain way to play catch, and you're really laying that foundation. And you just grow that. When you get to 10s, now you can be a little more stern on those aspects, making sure that they are staying focused. Instead of maybe you might get 70% of focus with the 8U group. Well, when you get to 10s, you better be getting 90%. When you get to 12s and you continue to move on, then you're getting 98, 100% at the college level. Because if you're not bought in and paying attention and fully ingrained in it, then there's someone else out there who does. But a lot of it stays the same as far as the discipline, the focus. It's just adding each level, each step, more plays, more mental thought process to it along the way.
My main focus when I'm coaching is to make those relationships with those girls. The girls that we've coached come up and give us hugs and see us, and even girls we haven't coached. Your daughter, we didn't coach, but she still comes up and gives us hugs because we've created those bonds with those girls. One of the things we always try to make sure we say when we're doing our end of the year speeches is that just because you may end up on a different team or we don't coach you again, that we are always here for you. And we want our girls to feel that. So when we're coaching, we want to make sure that we are making those connections with those girls and with their families because you need that in softball. You can be athletically gifted and go nowhere with it because you don't have the love of the game or you don't have the support that you need to get through those hard times. So I think rec is that perfect time to learn the game, learn if you love the game, and then if you're ready to push on to the next part. If you're not, rec is a great place to live. There are so many great things. You know, travel ball has kind of taken over everything, but there are so many positive parts of rec that I really hope families understand. Just building those relationships. Like I said, when I played All Stars way back when, I still remember who my coaches are or were. I still remember the girls on the team and the feelings that I got while I was playing. I don't remember the wins or the losses, but I remember like loving the game during that time, which just made me love the game throughout my life. So I want to be that person. I want Matt and I to be those people that give our players that feeling for the love of this game.
And you guys are such a great family and all in, and really a part of the sense of community. I think that's the other thing that softball gives many players is that sense of community. I've seen you guys out there with the board members on muddy fields helping out, and everyone from your family members are out there volunteering, and that's why we've always thought so highly of you folks.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It brings up a great point, though, as far as when we see those opportunities and people would rather sit back and watch water dry than put in a little work to allow their kids to play. It doesn't make sense to us. It just doesn't anywhere make any kind of sense to sit back and watch water dry. So we definitely want to be the ones that are out there helping out to get it ready for the girls to be able to play and have that opportunity to get on the field because it's setting an example for them as well.
Absolutely. I love that.
So, Kate, when you're talking about All Stars, did they put the cardboard thing on your lawn saying congratulations, you made All Stars?
No, they
No.
did not.
I, I remember that day vividly when that happened, and
For our daughter. Yeah.
yeah, for our daughter, and she went completely berserk. Like you said, had some memories she will never forget going to All
Oh,
Stars.
yeah.
It was fun for us too, just
But
traveling.
definitely.
We loved it. Except, no knock against Lancaster, but man, it gets hot up there. Whoosh.
See, it's the funny part. I was just talking to Matt and his parents about it. Is that growing up, that was our goal. Like, I love Lancaster because that's where I grew up playing the game. So for me, like when we get to go to Lancaster, I'm like, yes, that's what you're looking forward to for rec, right? Is to get to those big tournaments and play in those big games. But yes, softball, you better be ready for heat. I tell the girls all the time in those hot months, like if you can't take this, you may want to find a different sport because this sport is played all the time and heat is one of those ones that they're not going to close it down when it's hot. I did not get anything in my lawn, but I do remember like they would come and like get us as a team. So that was what they did during my times was they would come get us and then we would go like have breakfast together or do something like that. So they would come up and like we wouldn't have a clue that they were coming. They'd sneak up and come get us from our houses. So that was your way of finding out you made it. But yeah, I still remember that way long later.
And it's
Totally fun.
with Lancaster in that point of it, is it something that USA Softball, and not to go directly to it, is because so many other organizations in the travel ball world have tried to mimic what they do with the pin trading and that thing. And it's USA Softball's just got to kind of figure out a way to take it to the next step. Not even getting it out of Lancaster, in my opinion, because you can still have Lancaster destination, but it's figuring out what they can do next for the environment to keep girls in rec talking about it. And I'm going to throw out names, and they're probably wrong, but even if the Jenny Finch, Jordy Ball, stuff like that, but getting somehow others something involved to get it so that way girls come back and say, oh man, when we were in Lancaster, I got to spend time with X softball player. I want to do that again. And it's something that would help regenerate that kind of excitement for Rec All-Star season in that aspect of it, to keep so many people going to travel so quick.
Very much so. But I mean, I think every big double elimination tournament, there's pin trading, and that started with the USA softball. So, speaking of travel ball, what do you think the primary focus of travel ball? We talked about rec ball and the fundamentals, but travel ball, what do you think the primary focus is or should be when girls move up to travel ball?
Travel ball are also called club, yeah, in
Yeah,
some states.
Arizona.
This is a very large topic. Kate, you want to start?
Oh goodness. Okay. I'm going to start by saying travel ball has changed drastically from when I was younger. And there's some positives to that and some negatives. You didn't go to travel until 12U. 12U was the beginning of it. There was no 8U travel, there was no 10U travel because that rec was supposed to be doing those things during those growing years. 12U was where, okay, I've learned that this is my sport. I feel like I want to go to college to play this sport. I'm going to go to travel because that's where I'm going to be seen. And you go at 12 because you already know those fundamentals and you're ready to start growing those fundamentals to become that athlete that you know you can be. I feel like travel has somewhat become a business in some aspects. There's teams on teams on teams. And there's some teams that are great. They have all the athletes and they are the teams that you want to play. And then, Kylie's in 12U travel and we play some teams where girls have no clue how to even slide. So when you have teams like that, it's frustrating on my side and on our side of those of us that have played this game through college, to see that happening because travel was supposed to be for the chosen ones that were looking to do this in the future and go to college with this. And I just don't see that being possible for as many girls that are playing travel ball as they are right now. The likelihood of every girl playing travel to go somewhere for college is unlikely. I think, they're going to lose the love of the game or they're just not going to get there athletically to be able to compete at the level they'll need to be able to compete to play college ball. So, yeah, I definitely see some positives. The fact that we have so many girls that want to go to travel ball is great. It's just, are they there for the right reason?
I let Kate go first because I knew with her experience in playing travel ball, it was going to be centered around competition, competing the top level. And that's the thing that we talk about, it is changing our mentality with travel to a sense that that's not what travel is anymore. It is not the top players that are leaving the leagues to go compete. You have girls that are at the middle to the bottom of the leagues, didn't make all stars, that are gone and travel the next season. But why? Why is it? And the reasons that you come up with is they're sticking with their friends. They're want to play more or they want to play less. There's a mix because they control their schedule. They're picking their coach. So those things have made it very easy for people to leave the rec area and go to travel, not always based around competition level, but it's controlling schedules, controlling teammates, controlling coaches that have inspired people to leave, not the competition side of it. So that's where the rec side has to figure out how do they retain people or create that excitement to keep people to stay, so that way travel could be more competitive, or you just have to change your mindset. And that's kind of more the direction it's going right now, is people changing their mindset that you have to be very careful with travel because I joked about it at one of our recent weekends. Is there? I know people get a little leery when you say ranking systems, and I don't mean to actually rank them out, but almost a category as far as a gold team being a true travel softball team, a silver team being right there with those gold teams, not too far off. And then you got your yellow teams and your red teams. Your yellow meaning they're below average, and the red meaning that rec teams are going to beat them because that's one of the big things, at least even comparing it to travel baseball, and I played, is when I started playing travel baseball, the gap between your very top teams and your average to below average teams was not very big.
Mhm.
Now that gap is huge, where when you look through a game changer, you're constantly seeing a 20-0, 20. It's like, why are we putting up 20 runs on a team? And sometimes it's not even because they slowed it down and started stepping off bases or things like that. It's there was just that much of a gap, and that's a struggle.
Yeah. I don't think it's good for the girls' confidence to be constantly getting beat up 17-1 or 19-0 like you're saying. Uh, as far as my opinion on the travel ball, I think it's very watered down, and I like the point you make about girls wanting to be with their friends and picking their coaches, and then you have people that will be upset that their daughter isn't getting any playtime, so they're gonna go start their own travel ball team. And what I've found mostly, and you can look through any of the ads, everybody is looking for a pitcher. There is no pitching out there. If you find a good pitcher, you almost wanna pay her, like, "Please stay on this team, please." Again, I think things are a little bit watered down in the travel ball, especially since when Kate played. It's a tough one because you wanna encourage your girls to keep playing the game because they love it, but sometimes it might be better just to sit them down and say, listen, if you're going to play travel ball, you might not be on a winning team or you might be sitting on the bench. So it's up to you. Why don't you just stay in rec for another year and see how you develop, you know? But I think a lot of parents just want to have that moniker of, yeah, my girl plays travel ball. Oh,
And
okay.
that's where I was going to go with that is Matt has said it before, and I 1,000% agree. Is that if you go travel and you think that you're ready and it doesn't work out, go back to rec. It's not seen as a negative. And I think a lot of, and that comes from the parents. That is not the child, unless it's like 14U or something like that, then maybe the player, that gets in their head a little bit. But 10U, 12U, you can go back to rec and get that confidence and be that star player on a rec team where and that's okay. You don't have to, stick with travel just because you tried it out. So that's what I wish would happen a little more is the kids that are struggling or playing on a team that's struggling, go pay your one-time fee to play in a rec league where you're going to get 16 plus games, have the chance of doing select, all-stars, have all those memories instead of paying monthly dues to just say you play travel.
I feel like parents need to make sure that they are definitely supporting their daughters in trying out and having those conversations. What did you think about the competition today? So sometimes even going into a tryout and the player realizing and the parents like, wait, maybe she's just not there yet. But I think the biggest thing is then they get an offer, and so then they're like, "Oh, well, let's just start paying dues." Really being honest about, is this the best thing for my daughter? Does my daughter think it's the best thing for her right now? Because, yeah, if you're going to pay dues, and she's not really being able to level up, maybe go to rec and be that player this year and be a leader on your team and know that you can take that to travel.
And I think that's where our minds are still stuck is that travel is competitive. You're going out there to compete, you're going out to play the best. And unfortunately, that's not very many people's mindset anymore. That's not their reason to go. They are comfortable going because they get more control over the schedule. They get to pick their teammates, they get to pick their coach versus the competition side of it. And they just have different goals. It'll be very interesting to see what happens in travel ball over the next 5 to 10 years to see how that's addressed.
It's like what Samarra said is that, are you ready for travel ball? And then you get an offer. That's another way travel ball has changed. When I was playing, that team wanted you or they didn't. But now, if a team doesn't want you, you just go to another team or another organization, and there are teams that are just going to take the body for the body count, for the dues, and you can be their 17th kid on their roster, and as long as you're okay with that, they're going to take you. That's your personal choice. That's not something that's ever going to affect me. With Crush, with Jessica Beaver, she has that name. She has college experience. She has connections. So that's something that definitely helps get her those athletes that are going to compete. Whereas if you have a Bob Smith, that nobody really knows where he came from or his background, then that makes it a little more difficult. So
And you see a lot of organizational tryouts for teams where they'll take anybody. But if it's an organization that's really true to the sport, you see them not giving quote unquote offers, or just putting someone on a team to have a body. And I think that's a great lesson for people too. It's just like there isn't any participation trophies, but let you win or you lose, or you're good enough or you're not. It's life. It's a life lesson.
I also think
Yeah.
is some of the organizations are having the true ones are having players come out 3, 4 times and then playing in a friendly. But I think not only on the organization side, but also on the athlete side and the parent family is just because you went out to one practice and they gave you the offer, I would caution them on considering that to make sure you go out to 3 or 4 practices. Go out and play with them in friendlies. Also, one of the things I asked at one point was, "Can I get access to your game changer?" And so then you're also seeing how is that coach coaching when they're down 10-5 or what have you, and how is that coach coaching when they're doing well, and how are the athletes? That's gonna give you the truest picture instead of just going to a couple practices. "Yeah, you made the team, congratulations." If you do want your daughter to develop and get really good skills and looking at, does the coach match your daughter's personality? Some people need a coach that's gonna be a little more softer. Some girls need my daughter needs someone very direct and no nonsense. So also knowing your player and how they're best going to develop.
yes, definitely.
So, like you're saying about quote unquote extended tryouts, it's like in the business world, the better the job, the more people you have to meet in interviews. You're not going to start off just meeting the CEO, but you're going to have to go through the HR, and then you're going to meet the person that you work next to, and then you meet your immediate boss, and you meet his boss, and it can take a while. There isn't any hiring on the spot in the business world if you're looking for a good gig, and it should be the same way in softball.
Okay. What are the pros and cons of an intense year-round commitment often associated with travel ball?
Man, so I'm the wrong person for this because if
I know what you're gonna say.
I would play all day, every day to as long as the practices are meaningful and these girls are getting what they're supposed to be getting out of it, um, and that it's being done with their health and growth in mind, then I think that it's okay to be year round.
Mhm.
Obviously, not 7 days a week because they do need time to breathe and do something other. We try to get our girls to do other things. So we try to make sure that they do other things outside of softball, but I do feel that if it's done in the right way, and this is what your kids love to do, that you're not pushing it on them, that's the benefit. Like you said, Samara, it's the benefit of living in California where you can do that. One of the cons would be getting hurt. If you're constantly working out, and some of these girls are working out now, there are girls that are lifting more than I could lift. If you're constantly doing that or just, running or whatever, playing all the time, and you burn your body out and you get hurt, then there's your con right there, is that you just didn't give enough time to heal and reset. So that would be my con. I can't remember who said it. If you're not working hard or you're not doing extra, somebody else is. To have that mentality, if you really want to go somewhere in this sport, that you have to beat out the person that's trying to get that position from you. So The more work you put in, the better opportunity you have at being successful.
Yeah, at a young age, I think doing multiple things is important. It can't just be softball, and for a couple of reasons. To take the mental break from it and gives them something else to focus on, and then also to build other muscles. When you're out there playing basketball or she's doing cheer, the gymnastic side of it, when I saw some of the things that some of those girls are doing in the gym and able to flip and twist and everything else, they are building a lot of different muscles that you wouldn't build on a softball field. And I think it ties back and helps. So to go solely to softball at a young age, I think can take a toll. But if you do it right and you do multiple things and you take care of your body within it, then there is a lot of upside. And I say, and it's probably not the best thing on a softball podcast because it's not great, but softball is just slightly behind baseball in certain aspects. There are other things that baseball is taking from softball. Pace of play is much better in softball than is baseball, but I've seen it where with the baseball side of it, when I referenced playing at El Camino, we had mental coaches that traveled with us. It was Ken Revisa is one of the big guys who started that site, and we had one of his understudies with us daily. He was at weights with us in the morning, and he was at practice with us in the afternoon. And I see more of the mental side of it coming into softball. When we talk about weights, how many travel ball teams out there now have a weights and agility day? Baseball got really big on lifting weights. Softball's coming. It's not bunting and slapping anymore. Yes, that does exist, but it's one or two girls on a team, not five or six anymore. It's about power, being strong, hitting the ball hard, throwing it hard. And then I think next comes recovery. With it is the recovery side of it and nutrition, making sure that you're putting the right stuff in your body to be able to eat correctly, to be able to get the workout, get the nutrition to stay healthy. And I think that's what'll be next to follow for sure behind baseball. And I'm not saying softball is behind baseball. There's just certain trends that follow.
You're gonna get it.
I'm telling you,
No, no, you're
baseball
right.
is taking that baseball's taking that pace of play and realize that softball is doing better at pace of play. And that's why even when you look at the College World Series, I did not look at numbers on this, but I'm willing to bet the Women's College World Series for softball probably outviewed baseball, or at least they're very close because of the game is so good at the college level.
Absolutely. I love seeing more and more softball organizations have that speed and agility day, weightlifting gyms. The Crush organization has the Crush House, and the girls go there once a week to lift weights and do some speed and agility work. But Mercado and a lot of the other organizations are bringing that in. And actually, I meant to comment on that earlier. I loved how you talked about having a mental coach at El Camino, I think you said. And I think that is one thing that is definitely being talked about a lot more in softball. But I think throughout youth sports, it is a subject that needs to be touched on, talked about, dealt with. And actually, instead of saying dealt with, it's just an opportunity for the girls to have that support and really all athletes to have that type of support.
As soon as that game's on the line, that mental toughness comes in, and it's the same with softball. It's the same with any sport, and that's why it's showing up in more and more sports as well. That throwing that right pitch, taking that right at bat when you get in the box, and being in that right mental state to go out there and do your thing when the game's on the line.
Top 3 questions, in your opinion, parents should ask themselves before deciding to move their child from rec ball to travel ball. Top 3 questions.
This one's complicated because are we going old school travel competitiveness or today's style with open the door to anything?
Well, it's probably a combination of both. What was your decision-making process, and what did you have 3 questions with just one question?
Well, I know I have one answer is I've seen their daughter play. So that
Yeah, so it probably wasn't
She's
even a question. It
amazing,
was
yeah.
just, "Let's go."
Yeah,
But
exactly.
even we appreciate that. But even with Kylie, we did not want to move her as quickly as we did. And that was one negative to rec is that she kind of got pigeonholed into being a pitcher because she was athletic and kind of got stuck in that position. And she's just not a pitcher. She didn't have that drive to be a pitcher. She didn't want to put in the extra work. Whereas playing on the field, she'll take ground balls all day, every day once you get her out there. She loves being in the dirt and diving and making these plays. So we moved her earlier than we wanted to. She was actually 10, but we had her play 12s because I was anti-10s. I just felt
And
like they were
and
so
because she's
young.
a baller. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. But we wanted, if she was going to travel, we wanted her pushed and we wanted her to play against better competition. And in 12s, you have that opportunity to play against better players. That was our reasoning for moving her.
And I think a lot of it, and that's where this question does get very difficult, is it also depends where you live, what area. Because during All Stars, during Rec All Stars, I talked to some of the coaches out of the Orange County area, and it is very different. They have a much stronger rec league until 12 years old in that area, to where more girls do stay a little bit longer before they transition to travel ball, the more traditional age to go. Where other areas in certain leagues don't have a strong league at the 12 and 14U level, especially focusing more on 12, because that's usually the age where Kate and I talk about it, that we really feel that 12U age is kind of when you should be making that transition. Just in our opinion, it's a good age to start. So when you actually answer the question is, what is your local rec league providing for you at that age group, or your opportunities around you, and what is your ultimate goal? Where are you trying to get? Because is your daughter doing it for fun? Which there's nothing wrong with that. Go out there and have fun and do it, and you can still be competitive and have fun without trying to become an elite player. You can do that in the softball world as well, and find that right area to compete, have fun, without having to say, oh, it was travel ball that did that. Finding that right situation.
So we'll be right back with the 7th inning walk-off, and I'll explain how that works in 1 minute. Okay, welcome back, everybody. So the 7th inning walk-off, this is basically a series of questions. Some of them are trivia. Some of them are just opinion. On the trivia questions, you can get points or runs. We call them runs. And some of the questions are two-part, where you can get the run and then get the RBI. And the first question is actually, there's 2 RBIs available on that one. And it's fun. There's no big prize. You get a hearty thanks and probably a T-shirt, you know.
No
These two
participation
are,
trophy?
I know, these two are super competitive.
Yeah, you're
Actually,
testing my mental toughness, because I could
know.
feel my heart rate starting to pick up a little bit.
Oh my gosh!
Like, all right, here we go. I
Here we
better
go.
be ready for these questions.
Here we go. Oh, okay. So the first question is mainly for Kate, but maybe you can help out with the RBIs, Matt. Okay.
You can have the assist. Yeah.
Yeah. Sacrifice bunt. In the 2006 season at Cal State Dominguez, Kate, you held 2 records that year. What were they?
Okay, so I held most doubles. I believe that's one of them. Most doubles and most RBIs.
Great. So that's 2 runs right there. Okay. For the RBI, for the first RBI, how many doubles did you have?
I'm pretty sure I had 24.
Wow. Okay, so that's 3 runs so far.
Okay,
How
but I
many
know that because my dad still tells me,
I was
like,
like, there's
every
more behind this. Don't think
Yes.
she's a stat person like that.
No, I am not. But
I'm like, wow, she's really full of herself. No, I'm kidding. I'm
No.
totally
My
kidding.
dad,
I know you.
after every season, my dad lets me know whether my records have been broken or not.
Oh, really?
So to complete possibly the grand slam here, for 4 runs, how many RBIs was it? She's gonna know this. I know
Yeah.
she's gonna know this.
I
She's
actually
gonna
don't-
pause, like she's like,
I don't think
Oh, I don't
Was
know.
I actually don't remember.
Matt, this is
Six-
kind of like remembering her birthday. What? How
Oh.
many RBIs?
I definitely don't know the answer on this one. And I can say that we did not know each other at this point. That's why. Does that work?
Okay.
I want to say I could be wrong, but I want to say like 67.
Wow.
You just threw out
Grand
the 6-7
slam.
for Kinsey. Did
Uh-oh,
she
your
just throw a
camera just went-
6-7 for Kinsey?
She
Was that for our youngest daughter?
Oh gosh,
Seven.
Kenzie's all about
Wow.
that right now.
So it was a close play at the plate, but the catcher dropped the ball, so they got the grand slam in the park grand slam.
Thank you.
So, but I have a question. So, what was the all-time record you held until it was recently broken for? How many doubles in a game did you have?
I think I had 3 or 4. I had a good run at Dominguez. It was It was fun.
All right. This 4-time All-American at Stanford became the first woman to serve as a broadcast analyst for ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Who is that?
I was going to let Kate answer because she's already shaking her head there.
Oh,
But
Sure
it's
you
my
know.
turn to go on this one. I should know this one because I say it all the time. I can picture her. I know what she looks like.
Her first name is the same as the woman who runs Fresh.
Jessica Mendoza.
hey, all
Thank you.
right.
Thank you. I
Good.
appreciate
Awesome.
that.
Okay. What year was softball invented?
Oh, no clue. I struck out.
That's okay. It was 1887.
Oh, I wasn't going to go
Ooh.
to the 18s. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it was a while ago.
With a broomstick and what was it?
A balled
Seriously.
up boxing glove.
Balled up boxing glove. Yeah. Okay.
Impressive.
So do you know who
Um,
gets credit for inventing softball? I'm going to throw a question back at you. Because Doubleday gets credit for baseball a lot of the times.
George Hancock gets credit.
who was the first pitcher to throw a perfect game in the Women's College World Series? And then there's also an RBI, if you know what year that was.
Man. Okay. So I'm thinking of like the greats. So Lisa Fernandez. No.
No,
Scott Richardson.
I wish. I love her. She's so awesome.
You want to take a stab at that one, Matt?
When you first said it, the first one I was going to go just because the name recognition was Lisa Fernandez.
It is Kat Osterman.
Dang,
Yeah.
that would have been one I would gone to in the later years.
And what year was it?
2003?
5.
2005.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I know she's a little bit older than me, but I wasn't sure how much older.
So this is a opinion question. What is your go-to fast food place when you leave the park?
We end up at Chick-fil-A a lot. So Chick-fil-A would probably Chick-fil-A or Cane's lately has been kind of our two go-to places.
Both great.
Chick-fil-A would be our number one fast food, I would say. But if we're leaving Tuscany for rec, In-N-Out's just way too easy right there at the bottom of the hill.
yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
unless that line goes all the way back to the gas station, then I don't care how
Then
good that
it's
double.
no.
No,
And
that's a no.
Absolutely.
All right. What year was Scout State Dominguez Hills established?
Oh man.
They're just trying to make us look bad now.
No.
I have no clue. 1913.
I'll go
Night-
within the. I was going to go within the 30s. 1937.
60.
Oh
Ah.
man. Wow.
They didn't actually start having classes until 1965. So, last question: when should parents stop talking to the coach and have their daughters do all the communicating?
Yeah, I'll touch it on because even at 8 and 10, they should really be starting to drift away. At 10s, they definitely should be away from the dugout. There really shouldn't be any parent interaction within the dugout during the game. But of course, in between games, parents are heavily involved. I would say at 12, you should definitely be giving more of that responsibility to have your daughter have conversations with the coach. If there's an issue over playing time, not as much playing time, where can they improve on? I think that's one of the ones I use a lot is don't come to me about playing time if I'm coaching. Ask me what your daughter can do better. And then that's how we can make progress. It's just how you frame the question. And then I would say really at 14s, I don't see much parent interaction. It should be primarily held by the daughter and with minimal parent interaction.
I was going to say to go along with that is that before that can happen, you have to be the parent that's having those conversations with your child. She still needs to be guided into what kind of conversations need to be had with a coach, what kind of questions are appropriate to ask. It's like if there's a play that's being practiced and she doesn't understand what they're trying to do, well, you need to be the one that goes up to the coach and say, can we run through that again? I don't understand what we were trying to do there. Instead of coming home to us and saying, we did this, but I didn't fully get it. So we go back and teach her, well, this is where you need to be able to have those conversations with your coach. You can't rely on your parents to go say, hey, my daughter didn't understand what you were doing at practice. Can you explain it to me so that I could explain it to her? No, she needs to be, especially in travel ball, right? They're supposed to be at that level where they can speak up for themselves. So as much as the kids need to be put in that position to be responsible, the parents need to be the ones that are guiding those questions beforehand so that they have already been discussed. The kids go in there not feeling like they're just winging it, that they know what they need to be focusing on asking.
Within that question, I think, Kate, you brought up a great point on so many times players try to become robots and just do what's being asked of them. And although you don't want to constantly hear the why, they need to understand the why, and they need to be able to figure out the why on their own sometimes. To figure out why are we running this play? Well, think through it. What position are you covering? Where are they moving? Why are you doing it? You can figure that out on your own. But then, yes, if you can't give it that effort, and if you can't come to the conclusion and understand the why, then absolutely they need to have that conversation with the coach. But they got to start thinking through plays a lot more at a younger age as well.
So listen, I want to thank both you guys for doing this. You did great on the seventh inning walk off. I will fix
Thank
all
you.
the answers so you got them right. I'm kidding. I
Thank
won't
you.
do
Thank
that.
you.
But just to kind of recap a little bit, we talked a lot about how rec ball and travel ball have changed over the years. Maybe some of the things that could be done to help rec ball maintain some players rather than having them go to travel ball at 8U and 10U, which I agree with you. I think that is just doesn't make sense unless all they're doing is fundamentals. I think they need to stay in rec ball and, like you were saying, have some fun there. Do that. Figure out if you really want to, move on to the next level, and then pretty much the next level, we're all in agreement, it should start around 12U. Yeah, I think that's kind of sums that up, right?
For sure.
I loved our conversation and just learning more as well about your backgrounds and having that discussion about travel ball versus rec ball. I think we've determined that both have significant value, and it just depends on the player's ultimate goals and making sure that they are going after their goals and parents are allowing them to grow in an environment that's healthy for them and that will help them build those foundational goals. So thank you, Matt and Kate, so much for your time.
Remember, everyone, you can find us online at www.dspn.online. You can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram at DSPN Plus.
Like, subscribe, and follow. You can find this episode and all episodes on DSPN Online, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to subscribe and follow the podcast so you can get the latest episodes at the top of your feed as soon as it drops.
Thanks again to Ryan Contractors for their support and sponsorship of this podcast. I'm Rob D.
I'm Samarra. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of DSPN Softball Central Podcast.
Until next time, put the ball in play. You never know what's going to happen. Ciao.